Welcome to part 2 of our live training session here with our LS Swap Nova. In our last video, we learned how to build our base global file for the vehicle that we're going to be working with here. Now, in this video, we're going to learn how to get our engine to fire up and run and go through things like our idle control and fuel and spark timing, making sure they're going to be 100% so the engine's able to hold its own idle, whether we're going to be going from a crank to fire to run and idle, or if we're idling and we hit the throttle and we decel back into idle, making sure it doesn't stall. We have a lot to go through in this tutorial. Let's jump in so we can get started. Welcome back to the live training session here with our LS Swap Nova. In our last video, we created our base map. This video, we're going to learn how to upload this base map to the Dominator box and be able to get the engine to fire up and run. Now, our goal here is to be able to tweak the idle control, fuel and spark timing so the engine can maintain and hold its own idle so that we can move on then into the next video taking a look at the part throttle cruise area of operation and calibration. There's going to be a lot to that, but this is the very first step after we've created the base map. So getting the file loaded, doing a basic sensor check, making sure all of our sensors look good, getting the engine to actually fire and run. That's always a task we can find. There might be wrenches that get thrown in there we might have to overcome. There's going to be some specific things we probably have to take a look at in terms of adjusting the injector data, because these injectors are kind of an unknown, without having to go in and start to absorb those deviations or differences in our main VE table. We might have to tweak our spark timing. We might have to go in and deal with adjusting a mechanical throttle stop on our throttle body. There's a lot of things that we might potentially have to do here. So we're going to take it step by step so you can see the process. This will be the exact same thing you'd find on your car. It's going to be very, very similar. It may not be the exact same thing, but it'll be very, very similar. And the key here is what you should take away is the process, how I'm moving through dealing with things step by step so that you can go in the right order. That's really what these videos are trying to highlight and give you the information for. So where I'm at right now is I have the ignition key off in the car. I have my software open here. What we're going to do is open up the base map we've created in the last video. Then I'm going to power on the car, and then we're going to go ahead and upload the file to the ECU, to the Dominator, and then we're going to do a basic sensor check, making sure all the sensors look good. Then we'll actually get the engine to fire up and run. Now, what we need to do here is jump into Open Global File, allows us to open up the file. We've created a custom folder in our global file main folder as EPA Nova. Basecal is the file name that we've gave it last time. Let's click open here. Now what I'm going to do is go here and do file, and let's do save global file as. I'm going to save this as a different name right off the bat here. I'm just going to call this startup. So I have a name generated here. Just give it a different file name. Let's go ahead and click yes. And we're ready to now upload this to the ECU. Now before we do that, there is one thing that I didn't accomplish or finish from the last video. That was assigning the pin location to the radiator fan control. So last video we were setting up the basic inputs and outputs. One of the outputs was the radiator fan, and I wasn't sure which output pin that has to be associated to, which in this case was B12. Let's go and assign that right now on this map before we forget so that the fan actually works and runs when we programmed it to. Let's go into our pin map here, go into view outputs. We can see that the electric fan number 1 has to be put into a particular output here. And if we look pin B12, that's open. That's our output 1. In this case, if we're looking at this, this doesn't allow us to actually drag and drop that down into our menu here. So that's going to be interesting. I might have to go in and reassign that pin location. I should be okay, at least for this video, to film everything, but I actually have to go in and repin that. I actually moved the pin location here to pin B12, looking at the schematic for this, and it showed that output 1 here was actually available. And it looks like, in this case, if we're looking at the assignment here, this can be a high side output or a pulse width modulated output that's going to be 12 volt pulsed. We need to have a G or a ground for the output type, which looks like it's only available on pin B10 and B3. So we can see I can drag and drop into those particular pins, but I can't drag and drop into the pin that I've actually wired it into. And that was my bad. I didn't actually look at the software. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. I'm going to drag and drop right now, and I'm just going to bring it into pin B10, and then I'll have to go ahead and fix that before I actually start to run and drive the car. Idling, we should be okay right now if the fan doesn't turn on. We're not going to let it run at that extended amount of time where it might potentially become a problem, but we definitely need to go and correct that before actually driving the vehicle. So I've put it to B10. It could be either to B10 or B3. I don't know. I'll see whatever pin is easiest to depin and move it over to. So not a big deal. we've at least looked at that and recognized that now as a problem in the wiring. So there's a first wrench in our plans here in getting the engine to get it to run in terms of the base map. We know that there's an issue. We have to address that, but again, I'm not going to deal with it right now. Let's just continue on and let's upload our file to the ECU. So I'm going to go ahead and just save this, go to File, and go into just Save Global File, save that change I've just made. I'm going to go ahead and key the vehicle on right now. We can see right now I've keyed it on, or you can probably hear it. The fuel pump actually primed, so the Dominator here, at least the fuel pump wiring seems okay. That's usually defaulted between Dominator and HP. The specific pin for the fuel pump is going to be hard fixed. What we're going to do is jump in here to our Sync with ECU, and in here I'm going to go and send. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.